So when The Rock's in there in Survivor Series, and keep in mind, this is, God dang, man, like what a up and down career, because this is after you've already been in the main event of a WrestleMania as an Edgehead.
Right.
You know, and I was even there when you pitched that to the writers, you and Brian did the Edgehead skit. So this is after you've already been around top guys and been in the mix. Well, so it must have been hard to have the carpet pulled out, right?
Well, back to the Edgehead thing. So that happens, right? You know, the major brothers, they don't work out in the main roster. Like you said, we pitched the Edgehead thing. We actually pitched it for the first time in OVW, because I remember it was a Tuesday, SmackDown, and the next day we're going to OVW. We know the writers are going to be there. And we went up to Michael Hayes, who was the head writer for SmackDown, or one of the top writers for SmackDown. We knew he was going to be there the next day at OVW. We said, Michael, like, we're on the fucking main roster. What do we do tomorrow? He's like, show me something different. Like, okay. You know, I kind of had this idea because Entourage was a big show. You ever see that show, Entourage?
Of course.
And, you know, Brian and I, we loved it. We were obsessed with it. And we're like, well, Edge could be Vinny Chase and we could be his entourage. And like, you know, we went to the merch booth and got like some Edge stuff. And then like we came out, and I'll never forget, we came out to Edge Music, and the writer's like, what the hell's going on? We came out and we had to do a promo, like a on the spot promo. We did like a fake phone call, like ordering Edge's coffee. And
strawberry milkshake. I remember it was like a strawberry protein shake. I remember
it was something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the writers dug it, but they're like, all right, well, okay. Now you got to get Edge to go for it. And we're like, Edge was out with an injury. We didn't know him. Somehow Brian got his email and pitched him the idea. And Adam Edge was smart enough to realize, like, this could be good. These could be my bump guys.
Right.
You know, they could be like my heaters, take all my bumps, you know, and it all worked out. We were the Edgeheads. You know, we help him win the world title. We go from sitting in catering to wrestling Ric Flair, Batista, Undertaker, Rey Mysterio. We run in the main event of WrestleMania. If you would have asked me the next day after that, I'm like, oh my God, next year at Mania, it's going to be Edge, Hawkins, Ryder, triple threat, Edge has explode. That's not what happened.
No.
Edge got hurt. We sat on the bench. The next year at WrestleMania, we went from the main event to being lumberjacks in the pre-show tag. And like, I thought it was over. Like, I remember, I'll never forget, like the new program came out and we weren't in it. I'm like, oh my God, the writings, because this is when they were still cutting people all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, we're done. And I would have been 23, fired, washed up, over. But look throughout, how many people did that happen to?
It was not a rarity, right?
And happen all the time.
And guys were so young and so skull effed.
Yes.
At some point, and that's a testament to your strength and the indomitability of your spirit, because how many others did we see fall who went through, let's be honest, not nearly the amount of bullshit that you did, and you stood firm, dude. And to go into the singles, and then were you jumping forward to that Survivor Series, Madison Square Garden? This is huge moment. The Rock's in the ring. We want Ryder.
Yeah.
Were you scared? Was that like nerve wracking? Because
no,
you were happy about this.
So because earlier in the night, it was Dolph Ziggler versus John Morrison for the U.S. title, when like clearly it should have been me in there based on what they were doing on television, right? Like Ziggler and I had been doing stuff on TV. We're in New York, my hometown, but then they put like, and I love Morrison, one of my best buds. They're like, what?
You just did the deal with Hugh Jackman too?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget, the crowd is just chanting, "We want Ryder" before the show started. And luckily, you know, WWE was smart enough. They had me doing a run-in that match. I personally think they had that match first to get me out there, shut them up.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then 3 hours later, The Rock, who hadn't been on WWE TV, that was his first match back in years, he's cutting this heartfelt promo, and the fans are chanting for me. I'm fucking backstage grinning from ear to ear, loving it. And I do think maybe I got a little too cocky during that time. You know?
Okay.
Again, thinking, oh, this time next year I'll be world champion.
Right.
But that time next year, I'm sitting home doing nothing.
Because it was, I mean, the beginning of the year in 2012, that's when you were doing the deal with Cena and Kane, and you took that bump off the ramp freaking terrible. Was that? How was that?
It was scary.
Yeah.
It did not hurt physically. It hurt my soul, my career.
That was like a wrap on the year, right? At the beginning.
Yeah. But looking back, they just did the Raw leaving USA to go to Netflix. They did the 20 years of best moments, and that was on there. So I guess I'm on.
Win. Everything's coming up, Cardona, man. So it's not good enough again to be sitting in catering, doing nothing. You're not going to sit on your ass. You go down to NXT, and
a couple of years pass, and I'm just floating. I'm still on the shows, but again, I went from someone who had the top 3. In the top 3 merch to literally have to make my own shirt because I'm so not over anymore. That's where I'm back down at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I'll remember one day, this back in the day, you used to get a printout of your schedule for the month. And I'm like, NXT, what the fuck is this? I don't know. What the fuck is it? Am I getting set? But what is this? And then they're like, go talk to AAA. And this is when NXT, it wasn't hot yet. It was just kind of starting up.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, I want you to go down there and team with this guy Mojo Rawley. He's all hyped. You're a bro. We'll call you the hype bros or something. That's the name that they went with. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this work. This is an opportunity, right? So we're doing that. We're doing the hype bros. Instantly, I can tell this fucking sucks. This ain't gonna work. This has no legs. But I'm gonna still fucking keep trying.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm still doing main roster stuff. So I'm doing all the main roster stuff. Then during my off days, going and doing the NXT. I'm crazy schedule, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of around that time where I realized maybe it's a little before that where I'm just fucking miserable, legit miserable. I'm sitting home doing nothing. I've seen my career and all my hard work, get flushed on the toilet. And I probably invented the fucking passive aggressive negative tweet, the tweets you see every day from wrestlers. I think I invented it in 2012, 2013. So give me some credit for those. And then I just realized one day, listen, me bitching online or even bitching to my friends or in my own head, it's not making me happier. It's not changing my spot. So what am I doing here? Let me look at the things I can control, actually can control, and do those to the best of my abilities. And this I say this all the time, and it sounds crazy saying it, but in my opinion, in that time, for me, the only things I had 100% control over in WWE was my physique. No one's going to say, well, you're in too good a shape. Stop working out, My gear. No one's can say, oh, your gear is too nice. You have too much new gear. You can't look like a superstar.
Right.
And my attitude, no one can say you can't be positive. You can't be happy. You can't have a smile on your face. And I'm not a naturally positive person. I'm naturally glass half empty. That's me naturally. I've learned to condition and teach and remind myself to be positive. But once that started, I started really dialing into my workouts and just my attitude and trying to stay away from the negativity. Maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not. Things started turning around. And about a year or so later, I'm doing a show before Monday Night Raw, whatever it was, Raw. So Raw would tape something before, whether it's main event, Superstar, Shotgun Saturday Night, whatever it is.
Right.
And I'm look great. I just started growing a beard to change the look a little bit. Great shape, best shape of my life at the time, new gear. And I'm clicking in the ring because I have so many reps. I'm done working 5 days a week. And I have a kick-ass match with whoever it was. And I didn't think anything of it. And the next day at SmackDown, I hear that Vince McMahon was in the production meeting and said, he must have been watching the day before, eating a steak, looking up, and said, why aren't we doing something with this guy?
Because they always told us that, right? The monitor's always rolling, and you never know.
It was. And, long story short, couple weeks later, I go from being on the show before Raw to winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania.
Bro, like that can't be okay. So you go from being absolutely miserable, you make a conscious decision to change your attitude, control what you can.
Yeah.
And it's all, and the universe responds, and the emperor notices. And
Right. You know, like, I don't know. I don't really believe in stuff like that, but it's like so hard to deny it.